I'm super happy. I'm super glad I got out of that armbar. And yeah, I stood right back up and hurt him, and then got him against the cage, hurt him to the body, and finished him.
How did you do it? How did you get out of the armbar?
Oh, I kept rolling. He didn't really have thumb control. He didn't have control of my thumb, so I just kept rolling. Once I got out, I heard my corner saying stand up, and I listened to him, and I got back up.
What does it mean to be the first guy that's been able to finish Dan Miller? It makes quite a statement here.
It means a lot to me. That was one of my goals, to finish him. He's never been finished in the UFC, and I knew I could do it, and I'm glad I did.
You weathered the early storm. You think you've gotten over the jitters and you're going to be comfortable in the ring from now on?
I think so. I was comfortable tonight. I think with Strikeforce and the Score. I mean, those two organizations really helped me with the media and helped me with big crowds and whatnot. And yeah, I felt great.
Jordan, David from the Hammer. How difficult was it for you to maintain your composure after you dropped him with that big left hook?
Yeah, I did. I looked at him. He wasn't. He still had a bit of composure himself, so I knew not to jump right into his guard. Get all crazy on him. But yeah, I backed up, and then I seen when he was against the cage, I had him really hurt, and then that's when I went for the finish.
So like when Dana was talking about the Strikeforce fighters, he was saying that these guys are really hungry, and it seemed like you were when you came out there. I mean, how much does that play a factor that you guys feel like you've been waiting to get in here and get your chance?
Yeah, well, we know we're fighting at the highest level in Strikeforce. It just didn't have the name, and now we're here in the biggest organization, for mixed martial arts, which is the UFC, and I think we get our chance to show what we have, and we did, and I did tonight.
Well, when you go out there against a guy like Dan Miller and he gets that armbar on you, I mean, is there any part of you that has time to think, I'm in Dan Miller's armbar, is this not a great place to be?
No, I wasn't. I was just reacting kind of at the time. If I would have been thinking, I maybe would have got caught, but I don't know. It's, I got lucky and kept rolling, and yeah, got back to my feet.
Jordan, your style seems to be to accumulate damage and ground and pound. Is that more effective on a guy with a great chin like Dan Miller, or can you just surprise him with a flash knockout?
Oh, well, I think just staying, keeping pressure on him, because that's what he does. I think fighting fire with fire and digging to the body. I seen he was he was a little sick after weigh-ins, and I think maybe this cut, maybe played a little factor in that, and I don't know how he felt today, but I seen he was feeling a little sick, so going to the body doesn't feel good. So that's what hurt him, and that's what put him down.
What kind of challenge are you looking for next?
Everybody in the welterweight division. I mean, Miller hasn't even been stopped, and he moved down to welterweight, so everybody in the UFC is top notch. So I'm excited just to get back in. I'm healthy right now. I'm ready to go next week, so whenever.
Would you like to fight as someone who used to be in Strikeforce with you, like Tarek Safedine, or would you prefer to face another UFC veteran like, say, Rick Story?
I have a list in my room of every single welterweight that's in UFC, so it doesn't matter if they're from Strikeforce, from wherever. I want to fight them.
Did the atmosphere out there feel at all different once you were in there? Like the bigger stage, being in this arena, or did Strikeforce, did this feel comparable?
No, it wasn't. I mean, Strikeforce crowd is nothing like the UFC crowd, and I did when I got in there. I felt the energy, I felt the buzz, and how loud it was in there, and it felt great. I felt like I belonged in there, and yeah, it felt awesome.
Do you actually have a literal list?
What?
A list?
A list. I do, yeah, on a whiteboard. I wrote down every single welterweight in the UFC, and yeah, I'm ready.
Why? Why the list?
You got to know who you're gonna fight. You got to have your goals set in mind. You got to know, like what's up, what's next, and I look at that list every day. Dan Miller was in there. I look at his name, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I got to train every day. Look at it when you wake up in the morning. Look at it, and gets you ready.
What do you do?
Gets me ready anyway.
Do you cross them off? Or
no, it's I don't put like lipstick on and no, not weird like that. No, but no, just a list.
Give us a little taste. Who you're thinking in your mind for next?
I know it's so cliche, but just anybody. I don't really have specifics or opponent in mind. Just whoever.
Do you care where you fight, or would you like to fight on the Winnipeg card or in the September Toronto card?
Yeah, either Canadian show would be awesome. I got a lot of friends and family that come and watch me, and I've already had a lot of exposure in Canada on TV. So, I mean, fighting across the world, across seas is a big challenge in itself. Going to Brazil, fighting a Brazilian, that's pretty crazy. That's a big accomplishment, and I want to do that someday. Going to Japan. Going to Australia, I got family and friends there that would love to watch me fight there, and yeah, so wherever.
So on your list, what will you write next to Dan Miller?
A big smiley face. I
Are you
don't know.
surprised you knocked him out so quickly?
No. I knew I could, but I guess I was a little bit because he's never been stopped in the UFC. You know. But I knew if I go to his body and kept pressure on him, I knew I could finish him.
Were you trying to stay away from his ground game? You were more confident, clearly, in your stand-up.
Yeah, I mean, when I got out of that armbar, I stood right back up. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's a dangerous guy on the ground. And I knew not to mess with that. I played my strengths and stand up.
Now, Jordan, even though you're a very young fighter, you've already had 32 fights, and your father was a professional fighter too. Does that level of experience give you an advantage over the typical UFC debut fighter?
I think so. I think this is my 35th professional fight, and I think, traveling all over the world, fighting, different places, fighting for a bunch of different organizations, I think, really plays a factor in, not going from, 10-0 against, nobody and then 15-0, 20-0, and then jumping into the big show. You know what I mean? You gotta have experience. You gotta put your work in, and I think I did that. And I think that's what really helped me. Being small and fighting on my dad's show, Rumble in the Cage, when I was like 11, whatever. So I think that really helps.
Being that you've been around so long, and I mean, you've been on everyone's radar, especially in Canada, did you purposely forgo the Ultimate Fighter route, or was that something ever that was an option for you?
No, I would have loved to have been on there. Every time I actually was, going to go try out for the welterweight, I was fighting the one night that tryouts were on, so it just never lined up. I would have loved to do it, but it just never happened.
In your first professional fight, that was against Rory McDonald, fellow Canadian welterweight?
It sure was, yeah. We fought in my hometown in Lethbridge on my dad's show, yeah.
Would you like a little revenge, maybe?
Absolutely, I would love to. That'd be a great fight, and he's rising, and too bad he was hurt. He would have been on this card. Another great fight for this card. It's it's already a crazy enough show, and but yeah, would have loved it.
If you had an opportunity to coach a Canadian Ultimate Fighter against Rory, would you do that?
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet. That's a good idea. That'd be a good time.
Since your father has a lot of experience in the fight game and he helps you, did he give you any advice for this big fight?
Yeah, stay on top, have fun, and just enjoy myself.
And do you think that's an advantage to have a family member that cares so much about you in your corner, helping you with your fights?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's been that way since I was really young. Competing in tournaments. We'd travel to Vancouver. We would go to just different jiu-jitsu tournaments, kickboxing tournaments, whatever. And he was always telling me the same thing over and over and over again. So I think it definitely pays off.
Is he harder on you than the rest of your trainers, or maybe softer?
Ooh, I don't know. I think he's pretty even. He's been doing it for a while, so he knows the ups and downs.
Thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.